I engage in the supremely appealing conduct of enlightenment for the benefit of beings. May I attain Buddhahood. So, with the two lines, in order to fulfill the interests of myself and others, I generate the mind of enlightenment. You generate the aspiring bodhicitta, whereas the next three lines refer to the engaging bodhicitta, which means you take refuge, you take bodhisattva vows through this. So the vows comprise of the 18 root downfalls. The 18 root downfalls are, as it is given in the 6th session Guru Yoga, which says praising oneself, despising others, and so forth. So if you actually curb or so praising myself and belittling others and not sharing the Dharma, teaching and wealth and so forth, so here there are 18 root downfalls to be avoided. The main practice here is to restrain self-cherishing attitude. Please repeat for the second time the Bodhisattva vows. And imagine that you receive, at the end of this repetition, third repetition, you receive a full set of bodhisattva vows, pure bodhisattva vows, just as it is within this mind stream of the Lama. And if you have bodhisattva vows and not cause decline to it, they are enhanced. And if you have not received it before, you receive it fresh. I seek refuge in the three jewels. I confess all my sins individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings. I take to my heart Buddha's enlightenment. I seek refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Community until I am enlightened. In order to fulfill the interests of myself and others, I generate the mindful awakening. By generating the mindful Supreme Dharma, I shall invite all sentient beings to my guests. I shall engage in the supremely appealing conduct of enlightenment. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. As it is said in Bodhisattva Charyavatara, just as the past Buddhas have generated bodhicitta and then engaged in the bodhisattva practices, likewise I'll do so. And then today my life has borne fruit. I have attained the excellent human existence. Today I'm born into the Buddha's family, and now I have become Buddha's child. Now come what may, I shall act in accord with this lineage, never causing this impeccable noble lineage to be tarnished. And then today, before all the protectors, the Buddhas and bodhisattvas, I shall call on all sentient beings to the feast of enlightenment, and in the meantime, happiness. Therefore, gods, demigods, and so forth, be joyous. And so, we should think of being sympathetic with all sentient beings, that we will suffer together, we will be in good times together. And so we should think of reaching Buddhahood together and so forth. And next is receiving the blessings. So all the disciples, you have already visualized yourself just as Avalokiteshvara, and think that there is appearance of yourself as Avalokiteshvara, but you are empty of inherent existence. At your heart, there's a black five-pointed Vajra, in the center of which is a black syllable Hum on a sun. At your throat, a red syllable throat, a red eight-petaled lotus, in the center of which is A on a moon, and at your crown, a white eight-spoked wheel, in the center of which is a white Om on a moon. So please imagine that your three doors are being blessed with this Hong A Om. So standard water is applied on the Vajras of the heart, throat, and crown with Hum A Om, three syllables, touching the heart, throat, and your crown. And next, the three places are blessed. Visualize that the flowers are offered to the crown of the disciples, who are visualized as deity, incense to the nose, buttered lamp to the eyes, and scented water to the heart. So, Vajra Pushpe Dhupe Aloke Gente. Through these, offerings are made to the disciples. So there's no So there's no, we are not doing the kusha, distribution of kusha grass and so forth. And then with regard to the protection cord, the best protection for you is that of the Maitreya, or loving kindness. If you practice loving kindness in bodhicitta, there's nobody whom you will consider as someone evil, harming you, and so forth. So, Om Buddha Maitri Raksha Raksha Sarva Na Swaha. With this mantra, the blessing cord is distributed. So his Holiness said the others are not so important, giving the handful of water, kusha grass, and so forth. And next is invoking delight. The presence of the omniscient ones in the world is intermittent, and therefore there are times when none arise at all. The appearance is intermittent, like the Udamvara flower, which blooms only once in 100 years. So, of course, the different religious traditions are helpful, beneficial to their followers. So, for the practice, to support the practice of these different religions, other religions have the philosophical idea of a creator God, which also helps their followers to practice love and compassion. For us as Buddhists, we do not believe in a creator God, but you are your own master, as the Buddha himself has said. And then the Buddha also has said, "O monks and scholars, just as gold is tested by burning, cutting and rubbing, likewise you should thoroughly examine my teaching and experiment it, and then accept it, not because you have faith in or devotion in me." So the Buddha is confident in saying such a thing, and therefore he gave the monastic vows. So he taught the Four Noble Truths, and then the 37 aids to enlightenment or liberation. And then, when he taught in the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, he taught the perfection of wisdom teachings. So in the beginning, when he taught, he taught the Four Noble Truths and the aspects or the characteristics of the truth of suffering impermanence and so forth, the four. And then with regard to the true cessation, what we need to think and reflect on is whether destructive emotions can be overcome or not. So if you think along the lines from Master Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamaka Karika, where he says, eliminating karma and delusions, there is liberation. And karma and delusions arise from inappropriate thinking or exaggerated thinking, and that in turn is rooted in elaboration, and that is ended or by emptiness. So with regard to the perfection of wisdom teachings, Master Nagarjuna explicated the explicit content, which is emptiness, whereas Maitreya's Abhisamaya and so forth explicated the implicit content of the perfection of wisdom teachings, which is the progression along the path. And Master Nagarjuna himself has said that the teachings of the Buddha are based on the two truths, the conventional and the ultimate truth. And so if you are able to understand the two truths, then you will be able to understand the teaching of the Buddha well. And so the teaching based on the two truths forms the foundation of the teaching of the Buddha. And so the possibility of attaining true cessation is proved in the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, the teaching on the true cessation. And then in the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, the Buddha taught that of the subjective clear light, which is the subtle clear light mind, whereas in the second turning, the Buddha taught object clear light, which is emptiness. Gongdang Tenpe Döme has said that the teaching of the Buddha is like leading us from the base of a hill up to the top of it. And so, as you progress along the path, you will go through a journey higher and higher. So in the Mahayana Uttara Tantra, there are 9 examples or analogies used. So this has to do with the sequential practice within the practice of the Buddhism. So the Buddha himself has been very skillful teaching in accordance with the mental dispositions of his disciples. So we, as followers of the Nalanda tradition, do follow the triple process of study or hearing and listening to the teachings, and then contemplating or reflecting on them, teaching, and then finally meditating or applying the teaching, integrating teaching in meditation. So we are at this outline of generating delight. Bari Rinpoche was a very good Lama, but not a very good scholar as such. So here in the text, it says, like the Udumvara flowers, the appearance of is intermittent like the Udumvara flower, which blooms only once in 100 years. So the word for occasionally was actually interpreted differently by him. Through many millions of eons, I have performed all sorts of negative acts. Through seeing a mandala such as this, if I eradicate them all, I will be known. What need is there to speak about the limitless contact of mantra? If I recite the sacred mantra of the protector, I will transform into the unsurpassable state and so forth. And so, as Tibetans, we are born in the land where we have the complete teaching of the Buddha. So, the Tripitakas, we have the tradition of studying them, and then the practice of applying the three trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom within ourselves. So unless you lack in your effort in studying and practicing this teaching, there we have the tradition where we have the practice of actually making the gross states of mind kind of subside, and in the finally, as the subtle mind becomes more and more manifest, these kind of slowly are eliminated or pacified, so that you go through the process of dissolution into the subtle mind, subtlest mind, down to the subtlest mind, which is called this, going through the process of dissolution, whereby you go through the dissolution of the and the whitish appearance, reddish increase, blackish near attainment, and finally the all empty clear light state. And so the text says, using these, make all beings become like you, and thus become Sugatas. So next is instructions on analyzing dream and repetition or reciting the mantra for checking your dream. So tonight, it's not very important to have the kusha grass and others, but since you have taken part in this preliminary process of initiation, do your best to reflect on, think of bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, and repeat or recite Om Mani Padme Hum, the 6-syllable mantra. And as you go to sleep, you should be able to fall asleep within the state of a very virtuous state of mind through the meditation on bodhicitta and the view of emptiness. If they are too strong, you will actually lose sleep. So in other words, it is said that you should check your dream after having cultivated or settled your mind in a very virtuous state. So, Sri Beza Gordahaya Giva Hulu Hulu Humpe is the mantra that would be good to recite. So tonight, also, Sri Vajra Krodha Hayagriva Hulu Hulu Humpe would be helpful to help you check your dream. So we are done with the preliminary process of the initiation, the great initiation of Avalokiteshvara. So today I have born into Buddha's family, and I've become a Buddha's child. With this, feel delighted and feel calm and relaxed, feel at ease. These are dedication prayers. Dedication prayer from the prayer, Samandabhadra prayer. So tomorrow is the actual initiation of Avalokiteshvara. So Robert Thurman has requested Jenang of blessing of Simhanada Avalokiteshvara. So we'll do that tomorrow. Thank you. Desh Delek. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.